Hi, it's Dr. Steve from Misericordia University. Let's use this time today to give an introduction to our course project, which is going to be a research paper. So, what is the course project? Well, a requirement for educational psychology, TD 232 or Psych 342, is the completion of a course project. And in this course, that project is going to be a research paper. Now realize that the research paper will be worth 30 points on your final course grade. The paper is going to consist of at least 5 pages in length in the body. Now we're also going to have a cover page and a bibliography or reference page. So when we look at the body of the paper itself, now don't worry because it's going to be double spaced according to APA standards, a minimum of 5 pages and no more than 8 pages in case you find you have so much to say that it's coming out of your research. We're also going to follow APA formatted thoughts. I'm going to ask you to use at least 7 references of professionally respected material. And one of those references could be Slavin, the course textbook. The paper will be graded on these components: the length of the paper, correct use of APA, correct good use of content and presentation of content, the way you organize, the way you present the information, and correct grammar, punctuation. So you'll find on Blackboard a listing of all the dates and activities associated with writing this paper. So I have a date due for first of all, when we're introducing this in class. And then the next step is, after you view this information today, take a look at the possible course paper topics on Blackboard. Your paper could be chosen from the list that's provided, or you could step off the list and do something else. And ultimately, I'll ask you to click into the shared Google Doc and just list out what is your proposed topic. And then I can jot down some ideas as feedback just to make sure that you're on the right page with what you're aiming to do. Then I have a date which will be coming within 2 weeks after this time, whereas I'd like you to upload your finalized topic at that point, your outline, and then your sources. And we'll take a better look at this in a moment. And then later on in the semester, we'll have the course project due. And when you submit the paper, I'm not going to say it's a draft because although it is, but many people, when they hear the word draft, they think of rough draft, which means not a finished product. And for some folks, that paper that you turn in will be it. Like, you'll be fine, and you'll have done a very, very good job with it. Now, for many people, especially those who are newer to writing collegiate level research papers, and also those who are unfamiliar with APA formatting styles, maybe you'll need to make some changes. So you'll have the opportunity to do that. And that's the last date that's listed here. It'll be the final course project. So the finalized, your second copy if you need to or choose to resubmit. In this document, I also have the grading rubric that we're going to use for this paper. So notice we're going to have one category in which you're meeting all the requirements, like the length of pages and the minimum number of sources and so on. And then APA formatting will be another area, because professionals in our field need to be able to demonstrate proper use of APA formatting. And then finally, the writing of the paper, the way that you communicate and express your ideas. That will be a third area of this rubric. When you add up the points between meeting the requirements, 30, the APA portion, 20, and finally the actual communication of your ideas, the writing of the paper, it will add up to 100 possible points for this rubric. So what type of topic might you choose for this research paper? One thing that I don't like is when someone says, well, go select a topic and we'll look forward to seeing what you've come up with. I like to give some guidance, some ideas, some possible seed thoughts. Now, you don't have to just follow what's all on this list, but hopefully it will give you something to choose from, like a menu, or maybe even spark other ideas that you might have as you read this list. So in Blackboard, you can find this list of topics, and you'll notice that it deals with everything from development to moral reasoning. We talked about Kohlberg, brain research, testing, learning, memory, various biases that we find in schools, different diagnoses that we can find with our students, different tools that we can use, such as Bloom's revised taxonomy, how to develop instruction, giftedness, emotional intelligence, different types of schooling settings. Maybe something from the COVID pandemic is of interest to you. There are so many possible areas that you could research in the area of educational psychology. EdPsych really touches a lot of what we do in the educational field. So realize that these topics listed are only suggestions, and you are free to suggest another topic. But again, I'll ask you to propose your topic in advance on the shared Google Doc so that I can give you some guidance to make sure that you're on the right course and going to attempt something that will be beneficial to you. After you view the list of possible topics and give that some consideration, now it's time for you to propose what your course project, what your paper may be about. So I'll prompt you to go into Blackboard and to look for the proposal link, which will take you to this shared Google Sheet. And you can put your name and then list your topic. Now, I suggest that your topic can be written as a question because that's something that you can research and you can defend. So, for example, I'm interested in memory strategies and brain research. Can brain research support selection of memory strategies for effective learning? And after you submit that, there's a spot for the instructor to make some comments, like right on target, consider researching certain pieces, and so on, that may give you some guidance as you're seeking to finalize what you're looking to write about. Next, it's time to prepare an outline. When you prepare this outline, it's really going to help you set up that course paper. And then I'll ask you to submit that in Blackboard to me. And again, I will give you feedback to make sure that you're on the right track. This assignment, I'm going to ask you, the outline assignment, is to propose your topic written as a question. So ideally it's a question, because if you ask a question, then you can argue, you can defend what you say in that question, and it's going to really focus your research. Second, give me a proposed outline. Now, when you give the proposed outline, it doesn't have to be formal. You know you're going to have the word introduction and conclusion. You're also going to have several other headings along the way. You don't have to give me a lot of information or how you're going to research that or what you're going to do. It'll be sufficient just to list the outline points. And finally, as part of this activity, I ask for a starter set of approximately 5 sources. The sources should be written according to the APA formatting standards. Now keep in mind that this project calls for a minimum of 7 sources, but this is a starter set because researchers realize that when we get into our research, sometimes we change our sources. Sometimes we add additional ones. So I'm only asking for a few just to make sure that you're on the right track. When you prepare your outline, just keep it simple. This does not have to be a formal document. It's just to make sure that you have a skeleton, a plan, you've loaded your GPS, so to speak, so you know where you're headed in writing this paper. Tell me your topic. Again, ideally written as a question that can be defended. For example, I could say, my topic will be, can brain research support selection of memory strategies for effective learning? If I write my topic that way, I know where I'm headed. I know what kind of professional literature to search for. I'm going to be looking for brain research, for memory strategies, and I'm going to be looking for strategies that lead to effective learning in the classroom. Once I have my topic, next I'm going to prepare my outline. Again, it does not have to be formal. We just need the points. So my outline could look something like this. An introduction and a conclusion. Guaranteed, every paper, just like every speech, every class, everything needs to have both of those elements. As I do a search on Ebsco Host, then I come up with some other ideas, these categories, these themes, which become an outline. For example, after the introduction, I might do a little survey of brain research, like what's the state of the art, what's being researched out there. And then, to support my topic, my argument, I may say, well, maybe I'm going to now highlight memory strategies that are suggested by this brain research. Having done all of that, I want to prove my case. I want to argue that these memory strategies can indeed, if they're brain research based, can lead to effective learning. So maybe I will include an outline point, a heading in the paper called Advantages of Utilizing Brain-Based Memory Strategies. So notice, I'm not putting a lot of extra information here. It's just the basics. Each one of these points in the outline will become headings in the paper. So they're not individual paragraphs, they're all separate headings, and many of them will contain a number of paragraphs. Keep in mind that as you research, after you submit this topic outline and initial set of resources, it may change a little bit. That's normal in the research process. The next thing I have to do is paste in my resources using APA formatting. So let's take a look at Ebsco Host and how you might do that. So how do I find the Ebsco Host professional literature databases at Misericordia? Well, first of all, what you have to do is go to the library. And we certainly have links to the library. You can also go directly there by typing library.misericordia.edu. And that will take you to this page. Now, while you're here, you might be tempted to start typing something here immediately. Don't. Click into Journal Finder. When you click into Journal Finder, again, you might be tempted to start typing something, but don't. Instead, click on Advanced Search. And this will open up the electronic databases here at Misericordia. And I suggest click on Databases by Subject. Now, in this case, you can find all kinds of different subjects that will appear here. For our course, you might be looking at education. You might be looking at psychology. I'm going to click into education for a moment, and I'll see all these databases appearing down here, and there's a whole host of them in this area. The first one I'm going to utilize because it's so involved, it's so extensive. I'm going to use the Academic Search Ultimate. So whichever database you choose, whether it's one of the educational or one of the psychology databases, you'll click in, and then it's going to look the same. We're going to have this same setup. Now, first of all, notice up top it says sign in and folder. If you sign in, then your folder, which you get for free at Misericordia, your folder will now have your name attached, and you can always sign into that folder, and you can stuff your research from these databases into that folder for safekeeping. Now I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I'm going to click on Misericordia Owned, and I'm going to click on Full Text. And by clicking on both of these, I'm guaranteed that I will be able to either read the text immediately on the screen, or maybe it'll be something that I have to physically travel to the library in order to read it. But one way or another, Misericordia owns it, and we will get to see the text either in the library or most likely on the screen. Now, in some courses, professors will ask for peer-reviewed. Now, I'm not suggesting peer-reviewed for this course project paper. And then, whatever you're searching for, we simply type it in here as you would doing a Google or other search engine search. So, if I'm looking for memory strategies and brain research, maybe I'll type brain, and maybe I'll type memory strategies. Just keep in mind that whatever you type here, it's going to function differently in the search engine than in Google. It won't be as forgiving, and you're not going to get bazillions of hits. You're only going to get a few. So let me start off and do a search on this. Now when I do this search, well, again, I didn't get bazillions, I got 3. So maybe I need to back off on some of my terms. And if I get too many hits, maybe I need to add another term, such as classroom or education. So maybe I'm going to say brain, and I'm just going to say memory. And let me try that search and see if that gets me just a little bit more. Okay, well that certainly opened up this palette of what I can work with. Now, what I suggest is take a look on your first pass through here. Take a look and get an idea of what these topics are that are being written about. What kind of research is being done out there in terms of whatever your topic is. It's something like here's something about vocal learning in a songbird. Well, that's not going to apply to me at all. Now, some of the brain things are going to be maybe a little too technical, and I'm going to miss the forest for those individual trees. So I'll take a look. But notice, since I said full text and Misericordia owned, right here I can click on HTML or PDF, full text. So one way or another, I'm going to be able to get that information, even if I have to travel into the library physically to open it. In most cases, you won't have to. Now, a couple other thoughts. If this looks good, notice there's a little plus button over here. You can add this into your folder, which is nice. Now, if I'm not sure if I could use this or not, I'll click into the article. When I look at the article, one of the big helps after the title is the abstract. So I look at this abstract. I can take a look at this abstract and make a determination. Should I stuff this into the folder at this point? Or is it not really going to be applicable to what I'm looking to do? And again, approach all these with an open mind, because maybe something will apply, you just didn't realize it yet. Here's a couple other hints. Notice there's other subject terms here that maybe we didn't think about. Now you can certainly click here and do a search on just that, or you can select one or more of these terms and add them to your list of terms. Now, if I like this article, and I think this is going to be one of them I'm going to use, notice on the right-hand side, now it says remove from folder. If I didn't put it in already, this add to folder would be available. Notice there's something called the Cite tool. When I click into the Cite tool, it's going to open up a listing of all different citation formats. So I'm going to choose for this purpose the APA reference. So all I have to do is copy and paste this, and thank you, Ebsco Host. You've done the work of citing this article in terms of APA. Now, one other point, as you're searching, notice it says result list and there's a back button. Click on this rather than clicking on the back button in the browser, because the browser, you know that if you're stuffing things in the folder, if you hit the back button on the browser instead of this result list button, you may actually return to a state before you stuffed any articles in your folder. In other words, you'll add something into your folder and then you're going to erase it by hitting the back button. Avoid the back button. Instead, use this go back result list. Now your folder still has items in it. When you're ready to review the material in your folder, now you simply click into the folder at the top, and now all of the things that you have placed in will be here for you to view later on when you're ready to get deeper into the research. So finally, let's take a look at Blackboard and let's see where you can access all of this information about this course project / research paper. So in Blackboard, I can open up the folder that's dedicated to this. First, you'll see the course project information and rubric. That was the first document we took a look at. Here's the suggested course project topics. So take a look and see if something sparks an idea for you. Then take a look at Ebsco Host, look around, and see what people are talking about in regard to your possible topic. When you're ready, click this link and go to the shared Google Doc and list down your name and your proposed topic. And then I'll be able to go in, review that, and give you some thoughts on it. Now, we're doing this as a shared document, as a wiki, for the purpose of maybe giving you other thoughts, the synergy of people working together. When you see some thoughts that someone else has, you might say, that's a pretty interesting topic. Maybe I'll research that. And yes, it's fair game to do that. You can perform research in the same area if you want to. Maybe someone else's thoughts will spark a new idea for you, something that on your own you might not have thought of. So that's the next step, is to sign up and propose a topic, keeping in mind that it's not written in stone. As you research, things may change a little bit, and that's okay. Then, when you're ready, you can, after you do a little research, you can set up your course project outline. And that's where you're going to submit your finalized topic, ideally written as a question that can be defended and argued. Number 2, your outline, and just as you saw earlier, just the outline points. And finally, the third part of that is at least 5 the references. So it's a starter set written in APA. And if you use sources from Ebsco Host we saw using the Cite tool will automatically generate that APA formatted bibliography for you. In addition, you'll find a video that I created for another course, so it'll just be a little different topic area, how to write a course research paper. So if that would be helpful to you as an option, then click in and take a look at that as well. So there you have it. That's an introduction to our course project, which is a research paper, and some hints and tips as to how to develop an outline, how to pick your topic, how to propose the topic, and also how to write the paper, in addition to looking at how you can use Blackboard to access all of this information. So much success as you start considering this course project, and we'll look forward to seeing you in class. And as always, I'm as close as email. Ask me any questions that you have. Take care.